At OSL, we found that there's some similarities, but also some key differences in the challenges between providing counter-drone security for military fixed sites compared to civilian high-threat environments. One of the really important ones is about speed of threat evolution. In both environments, the threat actor is deliberately targeting the site, and that means they're going to respond quickly to anything we do to try and protect the site. That's not always the case in a civilian normal environment, but in both of these two scenarios, it occurs really frequently. And as a result, we have to be able to change and develop the solution really quickly in response to changes in the threat scenario. Another common feature between the two is the real importance of resilience. In both cases, during an attack, whatever else is happening, you need to be able to rely on that system to perform for you all the way through the protective series of actions. There's also a number of differences, though, between these two types of scenario. One of the major differences is an electronic warfare context. So for the military sites, the adversary may well use electronic warfare, jamming, and similar things to try and suppress and defeat the counter-drone system. But that's really unlikely in our experience in a civilian high-threat environment. In the military scenario, you're very likely to need to integrate your counter-drone system into a wider ground-based air defense system, and you might need to feed your tracks and targets into one of those systems. Again, that's really quite unlikely, we've found, in the civilian high-threat sector, where there's unlikely to be military ground forces deployed. Military bases also tend to require NATO or other high-level security classification, and that's not something that we typically see on any of the civilian high-threat sites that we deploy to. There's a lot that the military can learn from the civilian deployments that we've done. One of the key features that we've developed for the civilian environment is low manpower burden by using AI-driven autonomous systems and decision support aids. And these are really important features in a military environment because what they allow you to do is save time and allow the operators to focus on the really important decisions, such as what response do they take. It's allowed us to scale the sensors and the solutions across large sites and cover large detection ranges, and to do all of that with a low burden on the manpower forces and the security team. There are also some really valuable lessons that we can bring across from our vast experience of civilian counter-drone systems. One of those, for instance, is about managing the complexity of the air targets and air objects. The civilian environment is in many ways much more challenging around something like an airport to find the drones in amongst all the other objects and to correctly identify the problem drones from the good drones. And that's really useful for the high threat environment.